Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 81. Kanchit kalamuma mahesha bhavatah पादारविन्दार्चनैः कञ्चित् ध्यानसमाधिभिश्च नतिभिः कञ्चित् कथाकर्णनैः कञ्चिदवेक्षणैश्च नुतिभिः कञ्चित् दशामीदृशीं यः प्राप्नोति मुदा त्वदर्पितमना जीवन् स मुक्तः खलु. अन्वय. हे उमा महेश, कंचित् कालं भवतः पादारविन्दार्चनैः कंचित् कालं ध्यानसमाधिभिः कंचित् कालं नतिभिः कंचित् कालं कथाकर्णनैः कंचित् कालम् अवेक्षणैः कंचित् कालं नुतिभिः मुदा त्वदर्पितमनः यः ईदृशीं दशां प्राप्नोति सः जीवन्मुक्तः खलु. As explained through most of the earlier shlokas, when a devotee engages himself variously in activities involving offering of worship to the lotus feet of Parameshwara, what will be the nature of his lifestyle as he matures in age and devotion is described in this verse by Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada. He Uma Mahesha, O Lord Maheshwara, you who are united with Parvati. Here this Sambodhana, that is the address, the word used Uma Mahesha is of significance. When one worships the form of Shiva united with Shakti, Shiva Shaktya Yuktaha, then he will attain Purna Phala, a wholesome benefit. That is, he will be lacking in nothing. Conveying this message, Acharya has used this form of address. So, such a great Uma Mahesha, Kanchit Kalam, for some time, Bhavatah, your Padaravinda Archanaihi, by offering puja to your lotus feet. Then Kanchit Kalam, that is, it is to be noted that this word Kalam must be mentioned and understood with Kanchit every time. So again, Kanchit Kalam, sometime Dhyana Samadhibhihi, engaging in Dhyana, meditating on Parameshwara, then Samadhibhihi, that is with the experience of oneness with Jivatma and Paramatma, oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. In other words, spending some time in these kind of practices. Then Kanchit Kalam, some time Natibhihi, spending with salutations to Parameshwara. Kanchit Kalam, some time Katha Akarnanaihi, spending by listening to the glories of Lord Shiva and all the narratives which are there for him, Purana Katha, Shravanam, etc. Then Kanchit Kalam, sometime Avekshanaihi, spending in having darshan of Parameshwara's physical form, that is going to the temple and seeing Parameshwara there. Kanchit Kalam, sometime Nutibhihi, spending with chanting verses praising Parameshwara. Muda, happily, with joy. Tvadarpita manaha, having offered and surrendered the mind to you. Yaha, he who, that is whichever devotee, idrishim, this kind of, that is doing all that has been explained till now, dasham, state or experience, prapnoti, when he attains, saha, then that devotee, jivan, while still alive in this human body itself, muktaha khalu, is liberated, isn't it? That is, the devotee who conducts his life as mentioned will enjoy the experience of liberation while still living in this body itself. In an earlier instance, while discussing bhakti, we saw Navadha bhakti, that is Navavidha bhakti, 9 types of devotion: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. All these 9 types of devotion have been implied in this verse. This is of significance. Listening to narrations about Parameshwara, Katha Akarnanaihi, singing his glories Nutibhihi, thinking of him in the seat of meditation, Dhyana, Samadhi, offering services and worshipping his lotus feet, Padara Vindarchanaihi, doing Namaskara Natibhihi, holding his form in the vision, Avekshanaihi, talking to him as a friend and completely offering the mind to Uma Maheshwara, Tvadarpita Manaha. All these are expressions of Navavidha Bhakti. Now, a question may arise. In thinking about Parameshwara, why do we have so many forms of worship? Because of the intensity of the past impressions on the mind, one could easily attain fatigue and be distracted if only one form of worship was to be followed all through the day. So, in an effort to keep the mind focused and continuously cheerful and alert, these various forms of worship have been mentioned by Acharya. Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada has mentioned the prayojana also, that is, the benefit of living such a lifestyle in this verse itself. Such a devotee becomes a Jivan Muktaha. This is the prayojana. He enjoys liberation from the bindings of samsara in this life itself. Explanation for this verse is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 82. Panatvam vrishabhatvam ardhavapusha bharyatvam aryapate ghonitvam sakhita mridangavahata chetyadi-rupam dadhau tvatpade nayanarpanancha kritavan tvaddeha bhago harihi पूज्यात् पूज्यतरः स एव हि न चेत् को वा तदन्योऽधिकः. अन्वय. हे आर्यापते, हरिः बाणत्वं वृषभत्वं अर्धवपुषा भार्यात्वं घोणित्वं सखिता मृदंगवहता इत्यादि रूपं दधौ च त्वत्पादे नयनार्पणञ्च कृतवान् त्वद्देहभागः स एव हि पूज्यात् पूज्यतरः न चेत् तदन्यः अधिकः कः वा. Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada described in the previous shloka that the devotee who follows the various methods of worshipping Parameshwara and lives a lifestyle of devotion will gain the highest purpose of life, that is, liberation while still living in this body itself, Jivan Muktihi. Then in this verse, Acharya mentions that Mahavishnu is the greatest devotee of Parameshwara and explains some of his deeds which express his devotion. He Aryapate, Parvati's husband, O Lord Parameshwara. Here this word Arya implies a very significant meaning. It denotes the non-difference between Parvati and Vishnu. Later in the verse, the content pertaining to this is mentioned. Harihi, Vishnu, Banatvam, the nature of bow, that is, during the destruction of Tripura, Vishnu took the form of bow which was held by Parameshwara. Vrishabhatvam, Vishnu became the mighty bull Veda Vrishabha and carried Lord Parameshwara. Ardhavapusha, with half his body, Vishnu Bharyatvam became the wife of Parameshwara. That is, in the form of Parvati, he worshipped Parameshwara. Ghonitvam, becoming the boar Varaha, he went to the netherworlds to find out the feet of Parameshwara. Sakhita, becoming a friend, he took the form of Mohini to attract the Asuras while distributing nectar to them. Then Mridanga Vahata, he became the one who played the Mridangam. That is, it is popularly known that at the time of Pradosha Puja in the evening, when Lord Parameshwara performed his Ananda Tandava Nritya, Vishnu played the Mridanga to give rhythm to the dance. Ityadi, all these Rupam, forms, Vishnu Dadhau, he took. Cha, and also Tvatpade, at your feet, Parameshwara, Nayanarpanancha Kritavan, he even offered his own eye. Purana says Vishnu used to worship Lord Shiva with 1000 lotus flowers every day. On a particular day, he had one flower less than 1000. So, Vishnu offered his own lotus-like eye in the place of the 1000th lotus flower. Tvadeha bhagaha, a part of Parameshwara's body, is Vishnu. Saevahi, so that great Vishnu only, Pujaat, is the greatest one to be worshipped amongst the worshipful divinities Brahma, Indra, etc. Pujya Taraha, he is the most worthy of worship. Nachet, if not, tad anyaha, other than him, adhikaha, a better one, kahava, who is there? Lord Vishnu took all the forms. He became the bow in Parameshwara's hands when he went to destroy the 3 cities. Then he became the mighty bull and carried Parameshwara. He gave half of his body, becoming the wife Parvati. Then, in the form of a boar, he went to seek Parameshwara's feet. Then, becoming a friend, he took the form of Mohini. He played the instrument Mridanga for Parameshwara's evening Pradoshakala dance Ananda Tandava Nritya. Then he offered his eye itself in the place of lotus flower while worshipping Parameshwara. So, like this, Vishnu expressed his devotion in every way possible. Therefore, Sri Shankara mentions that Vishnu is the greatest amongst Shiva Bhaktas. There is no one to excel him in devotion to Parameshwara. Explanation for this verse is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 83. Janana mritiyutanam sevaya devatanam na bhavati sukhaleshaha samshayo nasti tatra ajanim amritarupam sambamisham bhajante yaiha paramasaukyam tehi dhanya labhante. Anvaya. Janana mritiyutanam devatanam sevaya sukhaleshaha na bhavati tatra samshayaha nasti ye ajanim amritarupam sambam isham iha bhajante te dhanyaha paramasaukyam labhante. This verse is constructed in Malini Chandas. There are 15 syllables in each quarter. The technical definition of this chandas is Nanamaya Yuteyam Malini Bhogi Lokaihi. 2 naganas, 1 magana, 2 yaganas. This form of construction with 15 syllables. Nanamaya Yuta Iyam Malini is known by the name Malini. In this, after the first 8 syllables, there is Yati. That is, one can take a pause while pronouncing. And then again, after the next 7 syllables, there is Yati. In the previous shloka, Bhagavatpada Sri Shankara mentioned that Vishnu is the greatest among Shiva Bhaktas because he worshipped Parameshwara in all the ways with dedication. Only in worshipping Parameshwara and not other devatas one attains the ultimate end, Brahmananda. So, in this verse, Bhagavatpada establishes that we will gain absolute bliss as the end only by worshipping Parameshwara. Janana Mriti Yutanam, those who are subject to birth and death. Devatanam, the divinities, Devatas. Sevaya, by worshipping them. Sukhaleshaha, even an iota of happiness, na bhavati, cannot be obtained. When one is himself or herself suffering from some pain or sorrow, how can they remove another person's sorrow? Not possible. This is for sure. Tatra, hence in this matter, samshayaha, doubt, nasti, does not even exist. Ye, those who, ajanim, that is, one who has absence of birth, amrita rupam, and has the status of not being subject to the event called death also. Sambam, one who is with Parvati. Isham, that Parameshwara who can give immeasurable happiness. Iha, in this body itself, that is, while in this worldly life itself, bhajante, worship, te, such devotees, dhanyaha, are truly the blessed ones. And parama saukhyam, absolute happiness known as moksha, that is, liberation from the bindings of samsara, labhante, they obtain. There is no doubt at all. It is a fact that dedicated worship of Lord Shiva will bless the devotee with moksha. When we seek to fulfill some desire in us, then it should be sought from one who is a complete, fulfilled, and a whole person. If he or she, himself or herself, is a seeker, then our wish may not be fulfilled at all. In this verse, it is implied that the devatas are also limited by time. They are subject to death. That is the reason they were very anxious to drink the nectar of life, Amrita, and attain immortality. So, the devatas who are themselves seekers of freedom from the fear of death, how can one worship them in order to gain the same freedom from fear of death? So, a further deliberation on this thought will make it clear to us that the deathless one, Parameshwara or Sadashiva, is the only one who can fulfill our seeking of freedom from the fear of death. Now, why is Sadashiva free from death? Because he has no birth at all, ajanim, being the causeless cause of existence. Shastra says, Jatasya maranam dhruvam, or Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. That is, one who is born has to die is a general fact of life. So Sri Shankara says that a seeker must worship the one who is birthless and deathless, that is Sadashiva, to gain fearlessness from the cycle of birth and death. Further, it is not known that Lord Shiva will incarnate in any particular form. So, this matter has been mentioned by Sri Appaya Dikshita, a very great literary writer, in a verse Shivasyapyadhiko Vishnuhu Vishnorapyadhikosmyaham Shivasyekam Dashaharehe Ananta Mama Jatayaha. This is a very beautiful verse constructed in a very rare style, implying that all that exists is only Shiva. It means Shiva is always one only. Shivasyekam, Shivasya Ekam, because we don't get to hear about incarnations or manifestations of Shiva. Then, more than Shiva, Shivasya api adhikaha, it is said, is Vishnu, because he is known to have incarnated in 10 popular forms, Dasha Avataraha, which in this verse it is said, Dasha Harehe. Then, I am more than that Vishnu, says the author. Vishnoho api adhikaha asmi ham aham. It means, I do not know how many lives I have been subjected to. Ananta mama jatayaha. So, Lord Shiva is the only one eternally existing. All others are limited by time, and so there is an end to them. This similar subject matter was described in shloka number 24 and 26 of Saundarya Lahari. It was said there, when there is universal annihilation, Mahapralaya, only Sadashiva exists in the form of Ananda. Thus, in this verse, it is established that devotees who, without seeking other devatas, worship only Sadashiva are the truly blessed ones who attain the end known as Brahmananda or Moksha. Explanation for this verse is concluded. Shivananda Lahari, shloka number 84. Shiva tava paricharya sannidhanaya gaurya bhava mama gunadhuryam buddhi kanyam pradasye sakala bhuvana bandho satchidananda sindho sadaya hridaya gehe sarvada samvasatvam. Anvaya. हे शिव, हे भव, हे सकल भुवन बंधो, हे सच्चिदानंद सिंधो, तव गौर्याः परिचर्या सन्निधानाय मम गुणधुर्यां बुद्धिकन्यां प्रदास्ये हे सदय हृदय गेहे त्वं सर्वदा संवस. This shloka is also set in Malini Chandas. In the previous shloka, Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada explained that worshipping the other gods, devatas, instead of Parameshwara will serve no purpose. The ultimate form of Parama Saukhyam, permanent bliss, will be obtained only by worshipping Parameshwara. In this verse, he prays, may the intellect remain always non-separate from the heart. That is, oneness of intellect and heart is sought. Hey Shiva, O Lord of auspiciousness, giver of all that is good. Hey Bhava, the substratum of everything, or the source of all that exists, O Lord. Then, He Sakala Bhuvana Bandho, O Parameshwara, the close relative of all the beings in the universe. He Satchidananda Sindho, O Lord, you the ocean of Sat existence, Chit consciousness, Ananda absolute happiness. Tava your and Gauryaha Parvatis Paricharya Sannidhanaya for being close to you always with the intention to serve you, Mama, that my Gunadhuryam being full of all the virtues, in other words, the most virtuous, Buddhi Kanyam, the maiden called intellect, Pradasye, I shall give you. He Sadaya, Parameshwara, you are the one filled with compassion. Hridaya Gehe, in the house called my heart, Tvam, you, O Lord, Sarvada, always, Samvasa, may you please reside. In order to serve you in your house, I shall send the maiden called my intellect, and in return for that, you must come and live in the house called my heart. This is the essential meaning of this prayer by the devoted seeker Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada. The implication is, he says, O Lord, my intellect is filled with good values and virtues. So, it will be the most appropriate maiden to carry out properly all the household activities for you and Gauri. Moreover, this maiden, being very dedicated, will stay close to you and serve you both always. Now, in this verse, the Sambodhana Padams which are used, that is, all the words addressing Parameshwara, each one of them is very significant, conveying a meaning distinctly, adding to the sentiment of devotion in the subject matter of this verse. The word Shiva denotes Parameshwara is an embodiment of auspiciousness, and therefore he must possess all the good qualities which a virtuous maiden would expect to see in a groom. Then Bhava denotes that everything is manifest from him. That is, he is the cause of all that exists. Bhavati asmat sarvam iti bhavaha, which means Parameshwara has all the virtues expected to exist in an ideal being. Then Sakala Bhuvana Bandho implies that he has the duty bound, helpful nature of anyone who conducts himself or herself when they are a relative. So, he, Parameshwara, is such a relative to all the beings in the world. Then the word He Satchidananda Sindho. Here, Sat means the existence of noble values all the time. Then Chit denotes knowledge of all the Shastras. Then Ananda denotes a fullness free from any kind of affliction to body and mind. And for all these above mentioned qualities and virtues, he is the ocean. In other words, it means Parameshwara is a boundless repository of virtues. Then Sadaya implies he is the most compassionate one. Since all these qualities which are expected to exist in a groom are all there in you, Parameshwara, therefore I will give the hand of my maiden daughter to you. Now, as though implying this meaning, are all these words used to address Parameshwara. Therefore, giving this kind of illustration, Sri Shankara says, my intellect also is Gunadhurya, filled with these qualities which are matching yours. So, it is very capable of serving you. Then the word Sannidhana denotes closeness of the intellect maiden with Parvati and Parameshwara in serving them. Then Hridaya Gehe Samvasa implies the prayer by the devoted, earnest seeker whose intellect is filled with all the virtues for Lord Parameshwara with Gauri to come and reside in his heart always. Explanation for this verse is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 85. जलधिमथनदक्षो नैव पातालभेदी न च वनमृगयायां नैव लुब्धः प्रवीण अशनकुसुमभूषा वस्त्रमुख्यां सपर्यां कथय कथमहं ते कल्पयानीन्दुमौले. अन्वय. हे इंदुमौले, ते अशन कुसुम भूषा वस्त्र मुख्यां सपर्यां कथं कल्पयानि कथय अहं जलधिमथनदक्षः न एव पातालभेदी न वनमृगयायां प्रवीणः लुब्धः न. In the previous shloka, Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada told Parameshwara, O Lord, you and Gauri come and live in my heart. I will give the maiden called my intellect to serve you. Then in this verse, he tells Parameshwara, I am not fit in the methods of worshipping you. Then Acharya conveys this in a very beautiful way in this shloka. He Indu Maule. Indu means Chandra, the moon. Maule is the head, which means Chandra Shekhara. O Lord, who adorns the moon as ornament on the head, Te, for you, Ashana Kusuma Bhusha Vastra Mukhyam. Ashana means food offering, Kusuma flowers, Bhusha decorative ornaments, Vastra clothes. Predominantly these. In other words, comprising of food, flowers, decorative ornaments and clothes, Saparyam as offering or such a puja. Katham, how only, Kalpayani, I am to arrange, Kathaya, you only tell me. Why? Because Aham, I, Jaladhi Mathana Dakshaha na eva, I am not fit to churn the ocean. If I were able to do so, I would have offered to you as food, ahara, the poison, halahalaha. That is, this implies during the churning of the ocean, the halahala visha, which came out as a byproduct, was given as food to Parameshwara and he drank it. Also, Patala Bhedi na, I am not even capable of digging and penetrating into the nether worlds. Only Vishnu was able to incarnate in the form of a boar and enter the nether world to search for your feet. Then he became popular as the greatest among your devotees. But I cannot do that. Now another meaning is implied in this. Patala Bhedi na. In the netherworld, there are serpents which can be offered as ornaments to you, Parameshwara, but being incapable of digging into the netherworld, Patala Bhedi na. So, I cannot offer to you those serpent ornaments which you like. Then, Kusuma, in offering flowers, I am not like Vishnu who gave his own eye itself as an offering. Also, Vana Mrigayayam, in hunting for animals in the wild. Praveenaha, very clever. Lubdhaha, hunter. Na, I am not that. That is, if I were capable of hunting wild animals, I would have hunted a tiger and offered its skin as an apparel to you, but I cannot do that also. Thus, offering worship to you in a way that you would like, I am not capable of. Thus, the different ways of worshipping Parameshwara is described by Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada in this verse. On churning the ocean, the poison which came out, that itself was offered as food by Devatas to Parameshwara. The moon, which also came out of the same churning, was offered as ornament. Vishnu plucked his own eye and offered it in the place of a flower to Parameshwara's lotus feet. Other devotees offered the directions as apparel to Parameshwara. The hunter devotee Kannappa offered pieces of meat, leftovers from what he ate, as food to Parameshwara. In this way, objects required in the process of offerings to be made to Parameshwara, which are food, flowers, clothes, and ornaments, these great devotees did it in a very distinct way. Similarly, I do not have that same capacity to render these offerings. So, as much as I know, I will offer. Please accept my humble offerings and bless me. Such is the structure of prayer in this verse, which shows the humility present in the devotee's mind. In brief, I cannot churn the ocean, I cannot dig into the netherworlds, I cannot hunt wildlife. So, how am I supposed to offer anything while worshipping you, Parameshwara? Says the humble devotee. Explanation for this verse is concluded.